Oh boy. How's it going, everyone? It's me. I'm still alive. It's your host, founder, and conductor of the High Speed Rail America Club. The American Rail Club. I keep doing that. See if you guys can hear me. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. We are here. Oh man, it is spooky out there. Everybody's staying home unless they're going out to go jog or do some other things, which it was a nice day today, so that's pretty good. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're doing safe. Hope you are healthy. Hope you are keeping on track of things, because I told you this thing was going to get bad a month, 2 months ago. I've been saying it, and indeed I've been right. I don't want to say I told you so, but here we are. We're here. Let's see who's in the chat. Where is everybody else? Yep. Guess everybody else is still alive here. That's good. Hope we're not losing telecom subscribers, which we're going into as well later on. Things are going to get real spooky, guys. Things are going to get spooky. Where's my mask? Well, here's the thing. You guys should keep your masks when you really need it when you go outside. But I do have it along with other things, so I am prepped and ready, including for defense. So don't try to take my stuff because it's not going to be fun. I don't want to turn people to Swiss cheese here. Hello, Eric Gustafson. Hello, Grambo. Hello, Dan Air. Yes, I'm going to be having another rant about the airlines. A very long and tedious rant. And to make it even more fun, what I have here with me, you guys should always have in the middle of a crisis or something, is something to lay off a bit. It's a drink. I got Gold Rush. It's a premium hard apple cider by a brewery that I like around here. It's a local brewery in Indianapolis. It's called New Day. They make some pretty good mead. So this is the cider that they have. It's called Gold Rush here. And you know the reason why I got it, of course. Promontory Point. If it had a train, I'll take it. Some pretty good stuff. Alright. Yep, this is PG-13 now. Use of drugs and alcohol. Alright. Am I using Bing? No, it's just on MSN. I probably should stop using Bing if I just want to get the right stuff anyway. Yes, I do hope everybody's healthy. Hello, Highcast. Hello, Eric. Hello, David Mitchell. Hello, Elliot Plays 2. Our favorite horse, Stalking Horse. California high-speed rail in San Diego, what year? That's from Osman Hussein. Probably at this point ever if California gets quarantined off the United States forever. So let's get into the news here, guys, because this has been really crazy what's been going on. I've been holding off a lot of news, and I think I'm going to be doing this every week or maybe twice every week or so. I'm doing these live streams because it's getting crazy. Of course, I am working on the other stuff. I was getting that video out on Thursday until work started to get crazy because now we're apparently working from home now. And the state of Indiana issued a stay-at-home order as well. So we're the next state in line to be doing that as well. Let me go ahead and put on this light so you guys can see me a little bit better. Yeah, that's what I heard, Blaze. So we have somebody here in the chat who works for Brightline in Florida. Awesome. Glad to see you. Yeah, so you guys have shifted to a limited schedule, but haven't shut down yet. I don't know if you know how everything else is going, if they have any contingency plans in place, but let me know because I'm really interested in that because somebody did ask in the comments before to see if we are going to be okay with Brightline, if they're going to survive through this, which I think so. I think they'll be fine. They'll just probably slow down operations, and that's less cost for them to uphold. But, you know, they'll be fine. Yeah, this is... no more slow news days, guys. We're getting a lot of news here. So Amtrak is suspending the Acela service. So they were slowing it down last week. By about Friday, they were cutting down the amount of services for the Acela, and that is the express train. They cut out the Super Express, or what was it called, a Super Express from D.C. to New York. They cut that out completely for the time being for the coronavirus, and now they have cut out the Acela completely. So they're only going back to the Northeast Regional. Will be operating, but only cover 40% of the usual schedule, so that's not good. They've cut out 60% of the schedule, guys. 60%. I gotta drink to that. That's not good. I'll just drink away the sorrows, you know? Well, don't drink away the sorrows, you know? Find a way to cope with it. This doesn't even have that much alcohol in it. I can't tolerate it. I'm usually the one that tolerates it better than my friends. I remember when we went to, if you guys remember, when we went on the Shinkansen back in Japan. One of our friends had the same drinks that I had, and he just blacked out on the train. And I'm just there like, woo, I'm going to take some videos of here. Maybe I can just do some, you know, high-rated directing here or something, or cinematography while I'm, you know, halfway there. But this isn't good. Amtrak ridership is down. Well, ridership everywhere is down, including the airlines, but we'll get into the airlines a little bit after this. They're canceling up to 300%. Cancellations up 300% amid coronavirus cases. And there's more service reduction is unpaid voluntary leave. So this is not good for the people who work for Amtrak as well. For a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because of this. This is not good. David Mitchell, my fiance is under 24 lockdown in California, but I'm glad I got to see her for 3 days here in Charleston, South Carolina. That's good that you were able to see her. It's too bad she couldn't stay with you, man. Because California, probably out of all the states, is going to get worse out of all of them. Amtrak ridership, again, it's not good. The cancellations up 300%. And I'm pretty sure, according to this, if they're only covering 40% of the usual schedule of the Northeast Regional, I would say their ridership, I'm just going to guesstimate they're down 80% or something. If they're cutting 60% here and the rest of the country accounts for a lot of other parts of Amtrak, that's a good 80%. Just a good guesstimate there. Not good. Revenue losses could be several $100 million, which is it's just painful to see because this was going to be Amtrak's first year, possibly first year, where they would have broke even on revenue. It would have just been the first year, but this has been a complete monkey wrench in the entire... Not a monkey wrench, it's been a gorilla in the goddamn room. Just completely a crazed up, rabid gorilla, high on cocaine, just going and tearing up through the whole entire room. And maybe Corona-chan riding on top of it. I don't know, but this has just been nuts. It's just incredibly nuts. And here's the other thing, folks. I didn't expect the economy to react this badly. I knew things were going to get bad. I knew things were bad in China. A lot worse than what the media is letting on and what the official numbers are letting on. I think we're still at 300,000 there. I have a whole room over here, so I got the whole office set up as my bunker right now. All right. And I don't know if you guys can see some other stuff over there, but yeah, don't worry. Come in here and you'll be Swiss cheese if you don't knock right. David Mitchell, it is China's fault that this is happening. Yes, it is China's fault that this is happening. And, you know, people keep saying, oh, it's racist if you call it, you know, if it's the Chinese coronavirus. And I was laughing because there was a article that came out where Trump went ahead and crossed out coronavirus and put in Chinese virus on his script. It was hilarious. Because and again, guys, this is not the fault of the Chinese people, okay? There are Chinese people, you know, to say Chinese people, there's whole many different types of Chinese people. There's Han, there's, you know, Ming, and there's a whole bunch of them, okay? It's not like saying, you know, Hispanics. You know, there's a lot of different Hispanics. There's white Hispanics, there's black Hispanics, there's Asian Hispanics, there's mixed, etc. So when it comes to Chinese people, I mean, we have a lot of allies of Chinese people. We have people from Hong Kong, people from Taiwan, people from Singapore, okay? These are people of Chinese ethnicity that are generally people that want a free society, that want democracy, that want a republic, and that want to have their voice heard, not to live in a dystopic communist regime that lies to everybody, lies to governments, and they've lied about this for months on end. They knew about this back in November, okay, and there are reports from back in November that there was a pneumonic outbreak in Wuhan, that they had people with, you know, pressure washers going through the wet markets and clearing off everything. There was a doctor who warned about this in December, and he's probably, you know, done for. But this has been bad, and yes, it has been their fault. And the thing is now, ironically, people are calling for more government to help out when government was the exact cause of why this happened, because a complete massive government lied about this and let it off to the rest of the world. Yeah, Kung Flu is a better name. I do like Kung Flu better. Yeah, call it the CCP virus, exactly. The Chinese Communist Party coronavirus. Well, he called it a hoax because of how they were trying to take it to ruin the economy. He wasn't calling the virus itself a hoax. Kung Flu, exactly. So here's another some Amtrak story. So this is a guy from Buffalo area person who tested positive for COVID-19 or for Kung Flu. He had the coof. He took an Amtrak train to Utica in Syracuse. Now I don't know if he had steamed hams in Utica, but I'm pretty sure that some people are going to get sick from this. But this is pretty bad. Like we said before, there was that one girl that came in from Italy and took a train over from Chicago O'Hare down to St. Louis. And, again, this possibly got people sick. The crazy thing about this virus is that the R0 of it, there were some reports that I was looking at that came out. And I have a whole bunch of sources on this, guys. I mean, I've been following this since mid-January. Okay, I've been really freaking out about this. And I know people at work, it was February and people were talking about Kobe Bryant. Yeah, it was sad that he passed away in a freak accident along with his daughter. And, that was bigger news to everybody. And I was just like, I was like, is anybody going to talk about this stuff? This is going to be in our front door. Like now. This is going to be there. Yeah, their lips were white as lightning. There's a lot of everybody was Kung Fu fighting remixes of Kung Flu. But yeah, this is the rest of the world is happening this too. So Japan is not as hard hit as the rest of the world. I know some people have speculated that maybe they're also covering their own numbers too, which, it would not be their fault because they're trying to go ahead and, have the Olympics, which I do think they should go ahead and push it off to next year. And I believe somebody at the IOC is literally the guy's name at the Olympic Committee. His name is Dick Pound. I'm not kidding you. Look it up. That is one of the committee chairman's names at the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, that they are looking to postpone the Olympics. Nozomi Shinkansen to be suspended over the virus. So again, we were talking about this Nozomi Shinkansen now. I mean, every time I think about it, I just want to have a drink on the train. It's such a nice experience to just be, smoothly gliding at close to 200 miles an hour. You don't have to drive. You don't have to, walk around. You can just sit there, relax, move around. But here's the other thing why I think Japan hasn't really gotten this as well. And Stalking Horse just also put it up in the comment, or somebody else did. Stalking Horse put up a nice, funny joke there, bro. Yeah, but social distancing is normal in Japan. So when I went to Japan, even back in the summer of 2017, everybody wears masks, right? They all got masks. Which, by the way, funny enough, I found another pack somewhere that nobody had. So I got an extra stash of N95 masks, which sucks because, if you need extra money and you're broke right now, or you lost your job, and you have supplies, you have enough supplies, and you want to go ahead and sell it to people, you can't. Because eBay and Amazon are, playing it off. So, you know what? More for me. Not that I am, broke or anything. But, I mean, look, I have extra supplies. Maybe I could go ahead and take it off. And that's just supply and demand. Price gouging, if, stores were to price gouge, people wouldn't buy as much toilet paper as they would. They will only buy what they need. But that's just my economic view of it. And somebody who's more of an Austrian economics type of person. Yeah, China did kill a doctor who warned about the coronavirus. That is bad. Hello, Adam Busser. Welcome. You haven't missed that much. We're getting through. We have a lot of articles to go through today. Okay, so here's some important news, guys, from Blaze, who actually does work at Brightline. He says, trust me, Brightline will be okay. Patrick, and that's Patrick Goddard, who's the president of Virgin Brightline, has made few internal statements. We're playing it all by ear, but we'll be transitioned in the next few weeks, which is the end of March, beginning of April. And right now, I know for sure they are cleaning the trains. I know for sure they are cutting down on services. But Florida has not yet put a stay-at-home order. but that is for sure coming within the next week or two. I knew about that there's going to be a federal nationwide shutdown at some point as well. I knew that this was going to happen here in Indiana about 2 weeks before it was going to happen from internal sources. So I have sources that I have from everywhere. So not good. Let me know what you guys think about the music. I got it. It's called Virus, a cold, dark synthwave mix. Since we're keeping up with the synthwave theme here of the channel. Amtrak is suspending service between Chicago and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Again, this is going to be happening again. So we're going to be going over this. And now we're going to talk about really what's going on about the stimulus package in transportation. So everybody has been hearing about the airlines needing billions of dollars to go ahead, and here we go again, back what we had in 2008, too big to fail. What constitutes as too big to fail? Companies that don't know what they're doing, or they get too greedy and start doing a whole bunch of stock buybacks, then don't have cash on hand, and then all of a sudden when a disaster hits and they don't have a rainy day fund, they go completely berserk. Now, Amtrak, unfortunately, but fortunately for them, they may come out of this actually better off since they are a government-run company, but a for-profit company. So it's a very hypocritical, weird type of situation that Amtrak is in that may actually end up saving them. We don't know. Now, I'm pretty sure they're not going to get any money from this, okay? Because they're trying to see if they can get a $1 billion bailout to help them keep going. But most likely what's, worst case scenario is that they lose some funding, but they'll still keep going in the same direction. But Amtrak will still have to be there by government mandate. The airlines in another situation, have this worse. I don't know, guys. This is just my thinking and from what I'm seeing economically and from somebody who's been in the transportation sector and has been an advocate for rail transportation for close to half a decade now. It's been that long, yeah. No, it's been more than that. 7 years now. 7 years since I was 19. I feel like days over, like we've seen that movie all over again. Yeah, it's something out of a movie, man. Yeah, virus is the first phase of the Great Replacement. It could be. All right, another update on Brightline, guys. Yeah, they do clean the trains. They deep clean them. Practicing open seating, and let me see, just here. Went well on our smart cars and select coaches. That's very good. Yeah, Amtrak doesn't have any stock, so they can't buy back stock. So that's the thing. They can't, go ahead and use their money in frivolous ways. They do, but, not to the way that the airlines do. They don't have, let's put it this way, Amtrak doesn't have as many options to spend money frivolously as the airlines do. Someone's asking, is it a good time to be laid off from working at retail stores? Depends on the retail stores. We'll get to that later. It's not a good idea to be laid off, period. End of subject, okay? And if you guys still have your jobs, I'm, thanking God that I have my job. Work harder so you'd be able to continue to keep them. Give value to your company. More value than you're worth right now because everybody's clamoring to stay afloat. It's scary. Amtrak is suspending Pennsylvania passenger trains as well. If you guys have heard, Pennsylvania is also cutting out their rest stops, so they're closing the rest stops, which isn't a good idea for truckers. And truckers right now are really, really keeping us afloat right now. They're really the unsung heroes of this economy, and for sure, I have a trucker in the extended family here as well. My girlfriend's brother, he's a trucker, and he's been working. Some shifts 32 hours, and some people that he knows are working 48 and whatnot. They're just going nonstop. That they've had to go ahead and calm down some of these non-restrictions a little bit to go ahead and make sure that they're not liable for any accidents on the road because, a lot of trucks on the road and a lot of, truckers that don't have the amount of sleep they're more prone to causing accidents. Yeah, unless you work for GameStop, you may not want to get laid off because unfortunately GameStop right now is they're called essential workers. Who else is going to get the new Doom Eternal and play while they're laid off right now? I am going to play the new Doom Eternal after this. Me and my girlfriend got it because we love the Doom series, and that was probably the best reboot of a game by far right now. So this is the crazy part, guys. And I've mentioned this before about government. The problem is about the U.S. government is that, in the U.S. economy in general, we are not a completely laissez-faire society, as they teach you in schools and whatnot, we're a completely capitalistic country. It has not been that way, especially since the Great Depression. Now, we may be going through another Great Depression, I don't know. But usually what tends to happen, and if you look to a lot of economists or, the Mises Institute or whatnot, or Austrian economics, you always get to see that whenever there's a crisis, the governments go ahead and take the excuse to go and take more power. This is just simple as that. People don't prepare themselves, which is, our founders went ahead to make sure that people were self-reliant. And back then, people were a heck of a lot more self-reliant because close to 70 to 80% of the population were were in an agrarian-based sector, and only 20% lived in urban areas. So it wasn't as, where it is now that this is the first time in human history more people live in urban areas, which is accounting and a factor as to why this virus is spreading so quickly. Especially in places like China with high density, but in places like Tokyo, because they already do practice social distancing there, and they go home and right back to go ahead and play their video games or watch their anime, which hey, it's a pretty good life. I wish I could watch anime more, but someone doesn't want me to watch anime. Haven't caught up on JoJo Golden Wind. Like, I've still been far behind on that. Like, I haven't watched that in a while. Hello, silly humans. Yeah, there is no equal opportunity, in, as they say in this country. It's not in that way, and I doubt we're getting the Trump bucks, guys. Don't count on it. I laughed when I first heard that everybody's getting a free $1,000. I guess Andrew Yang is going to be in the administration too at this point, but I doubt it. But again, the problem is with this, when it comes to who gets to live and who gets to die, is whoever has the most lobbyists, whoever has the most lobbying power, and who can, be able to say that we're the most in need, really gets the money here. Because look at what happened back in 2008. The banks got the bailout. GM, General Motors, got a $50 billion bailout, and they have still not paid $10 billion of it. So we're on debt for $10 billion to General Motors so they can keep on making garbage cars and move their operations over to China so they can make more garbage cars and sell it over to the Chinese. Now they're all freaking out because their supply chains are messed up, and funny enough, they're ironically going ahead and going to start making masks, along with Tesla too. Funny enough, Tesla, they actually used, just a little side note over here, when the Obama administration was sending out stimulus to go ahead and start making electric cars, GM and all the other companies, what they did was, they took a lot of it to go and make the minimum garbage electric cars, so they know people wouldn't buy it, but they'll still go ahead and collect the money, and they're like, yeah, here, we made an electric car now. Here's the Chevy Bolt. It's the, the worst looking electric car ever, and it's not really an electric car, it's more of a hybrid, rinky-dinky hybrid, but here you go, I'll collect my money from the government. Tesla, funny enough, actually took that money to go ahead and start the business to make purely great electric cars, and they actually paid back all the money to the government. Funny enough, Tesla paid back all the money, GM has not. So, funny enough, and Tesla, a lot of people have mixed views on it. I like the company more. I have more mixed views on Elon Musk, but especially with his Hyperloop ideas, but I think he's a good guy in general. That's the thing. You don't have to agree with people all the time to like them. So, speaking of complaining, whining, and, whoever has the most power to go ahead and get, the most amount of money. So, United put out a letter. I'm going to skim through this because it's just crazy. On behalf of nearly, and it's mostly, on behalf of Star Alliance, mostly, on behalf of nearly 100,000 airline professionals at United Airlines, we, the leaders of companies' management and organized labor unions, have a simple message. Please act quickly this week to protect our livelihoods. Last week, the World Health Organization designated COVID-19 a global pandemic. Blah, 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 blah. March is typically our busiest month of the year, which is weird because everybody always says November is their busiest month. Odd. Maybe just for United, but I'm not quite sure. This year, in the first 2 weeks of March, we have welcomed more than 1 million fewer customers onboard our aircraft than the same period last year. We're also currently projecting that revenue in March will be $1.5 billion lower than last March. The bad news is that it's getting worse. And guys, this is going to get worse before it gets better. If you're seeing the charts behind me, I mean, we haven't even reached the curve, and we're not even counting China in that, okay? Because China lied, and people died. But, for the rest of the world, we're just, seeing how bad this is. Yeah, Ford, well, maybe they're not as, messed up as GM. Of the big three, Ford is my favorite. They didn't take, stimulus money or that much, according to some sources, but, it's all that St. Patrick's Day travel. Yeah, it's St. Patrick's Day travel, forget Thanksgiving, everybody goes to, for St. Patrick's Day home, busiest travel day of the year. So yeah, they're looking for financial support. Look at it. Financial support that you provide would allow United to continue paying our employees as we weather the crisis, protecting tens of thousands of people from imposing a temporary furlough. Okay? So they're asking for it for the employees is what they're asking for it. The thing that sucks about the employees, about the employees, but the people who are, these guys. So this is just crazy. You guys can see some of this, some of this over here of how much they bought in stock buybacks over here. So I'm going to put these articles together because I didn't have the time to do that. I was, collecting these articles that I've had for the last week or so. And, I saved them on my phone and, on like 3 other different devices. And then I have to get them on my PC. But this is just crazy. Of course, the September 11th attacks did a number on the airlines. But why this is worse than September 11th? This is not... Because September 11th, people stayed for a week and then everything started slowly getting back to business. This is an invisible enemy, as Trump has said. I do agree with some things that he said, and he's true. He's right on that. This is an invisible enemy, and you can't, it's not like you can go ahead and say and shoot it and stop it. It's not something like that. Funny enough, we're still in Afghanistan for 20 years. There are people in Afghanistan that have not been alive, that were born after 9/11, and they're serving over there, which is, pretty gruesome to know. I was a kid when 9/11 happened. It's just insane. But yeah, look at this. Boeing said on March 17th that a minimum of $60 billion in access to public and private liquidity, including loan guarantees, was appropriate for the aerospace manufacturing industry. Okay, and by loans, they're asking for basically 0% or negative interest rate loans. Okay, they're basically asking for free money, and then some. But this is just crazy. So funny enough, look at this tweet over here, which I found hilarious. So Holger Jaspitz, I believe that's how you pronounce the name. How absurd! Airlines and Boeing want a bailout, but large U.S. airline companies spend most of their free cash flow over the past 10 years on share buybacks, propping up the quarterly earnings per share results. So that's a way you go ahead. So what companies do when they do share buybacks, they're basically going ahead and saying, hey, look, we're spending money and we're getting more in stocks, basically. And they're basically, in 2 ways, they were able to take more control of the company away from the stock investors who do that. And, they'll have more votes and, within the chairs and whatnot. But this is just crazy. Free cash flow. And this is the free cash flow in probably millions of dollars. So let's look at United Airlines, because United breaks guitars. So United had a free cash flow in the past 10 years of $11 million. They spent $8 million of it. I'm sorry, no, $11 billion. I'm sorry, this is a million, so it's 11, billion. So 11 billion. $11 billion in the past 10 years of free cash flow. They spent $8 billion of it in stock buybacks. That is just insane. They did not create a rainy day fund. They went ahead and bought back their own shares so they can have more power, and then go ahead and tell their investors, like, look at this. Look, we're spending this on that, and we're gonna get you guys more dividends. You're fine. Look at that. 77% of their free cash flow was spent on stock buybacks. In total, the airlines spent 96% of their free cash flow in stock buybacks. American Airlines lost $7 billion in free cash flow. Of course, You know what? Let's knock more on American Airlines. $7 billion they lost. And they still found a way to spend $12 billion of it. That's why this is so skewed. I'm like, wait a second. 77, 49, 32, 71. You can't divide by 0. You can't divide by negative. Look at that. Look at that. That's just insane. That is insane. But these people will go ahead and get bailouts. But funny enough, the Senate will not go ahead and get bailouts for us, for the normal folk, but they'll go ahead and find a way to get bailouts for the airlines or the banks. Yeah, this is just insane, guys. Unbelievable. Oh my God. So this is another thing that just came out. In need of $1 billion, Amtrak cuts management pay as it faces unprecedented ridership. So look at what Amtrak is doing. You don't see the news of most airline companies doing this, cutting their management pay to keep everybody afloat. Okay? Amtrak is not in the forefront trying to ask for money from the federal government. As much as more of the airlines. Funny enough, the airlines are really the biggest welfare queens. Much more than Amtrak. But the Republicans will go ahead and say that, Amtrak is, sucking off like a parasite when the airlines are the bigger parasites. I knock on both the Democrats and the Republicans, even though I'm a hell of a lot more conservative than most of those Republicans. It's just insane. They're not conservative. They're just corporatists shills. And that's the sad part about it. A lot of them don't really care about people. It's just sad. In need of about $1 billion in supplemental funding to battle an unprecedented drop in ridership. Amtrak has now taken aggressive steps to cut the pay of top staff and other measures, the company confirmed on Saturday. So notice, they're trying to cut back as much as they can in order to keep, people, in the company to keep their payroll going. That's the crazy part about this. Amtrak doesn't have the amount of cash on hand or has access to keep the amount of cash on hand as the airlines did. Over here, look at, free cash flow. If Amtrak was to keep that, a lot of it probably would have been spent. Look at that. If they were to get, let's say, $23 billion, and Delta and Alaska were probably the better ones out of these. They've only spent 49% and 32%. And Delta is probably, my favorite airline. They probably do the best of this. And, the companies that have, completely messed up here, like American and United, should go bankrupt. They should go bankrupt. They should be split up. That's what should happen. They're not too big to fail. Nobody is too big to fail. Law of the jungle. That's what it happens. Let's see what some here in the comments are saying. We got 40 people watching right now, which is pretty good. Hope you guys can still see right now. I've tried to mess around with the streaming settings over here in order to make sure, because YouTube is also cutting back on their bandwidth since everybody now is online. We're not yet on the chiral network here. So this is something that I found funny, is don't feel sorry for the airlines. Before providing them any assistance, we must demand that they change how they treat their customers and employees. This is some guy that I probably wouldn't agree with most of the time, but he's right on this. It's just insane the amount of money the airlines spend on themselves, but not on, providing services. Imagine if you could have spent that money on providing better services for people, maybe giving them an actual, human portion amount of food or a snack or something like that, or actual seats. Instead of, trying to penny pinch and, buy back more power into your company. That's just insane. And again, it could get worse. Trump was talking about curbing and cutting off domestic air travel completely. This is just crazy. Look at this. A lot of people are saying, the boomers are going to get it. And unfortunately, I gotta agree with some of them, because look at this. Most of them. This was March 14th. March 14th at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood, and this is like a week before people started to panic. Well, about the same week that everyone was going to panic. A day before everybody was fine, and then the next day the toilet paper is gone out of Kroger, along with all the meat. This is just crazy. And of course, some people go ahead and say it's time to nationalize the airlines. I get really sick of hearing this. Let's go ahead and nationalize Amtrak. I hear from some people. Amtrak's already nationalized. What are you talking about? Well, let's nationalize the railroads. The railroads, especially the freight railroads in this country, are doing better because they're not beholden to the government. They make more of a profit margin, better profit margin than Google, Union Pacific did, at least for the last couple of years. I'm not quite sure if they do still now, but I mean, there were articles back in 2015, meet the railroad that has a better profit margin than Google. It was Union Pacific. It's just insane, how good our freight railroads are, because they don't have that amount of restriction that governments put on them. But basically, the airlines are an oligopoly, and that's mostly due to the fake deregulation that was done in the late 70s and early 80s to the airlines. It wasn't anything to do with deregulation. It actually hurt a lot of smaller airlines, and it just basically concentrated power into a lot of bigger airlines, okay? Because the government at that time thought that it would be great to go ahead and deregulate the airlines and get it away from the government, but all it did was just basically marry the airlines to the government even more than it was before. So I don't really call it deregulation, and most people who actually know what they're talking about know that it wasn't deregulation. So I don't agree with this at all. I mean, some people think that, it's time to nationalize the airlines. No, it's time to cut off the airlines from subsidies completely. Okay, no. There's a lot of companies should not receive subsidies. If you were to cut out all that and let it actually be a laissez-faire economy, it's never going to happen. So I'm just talking out of some BS right here. Well, now that we're all staying at home, I think it's time that I go ahead and read this a little bit more. I've gone back to this part, back to page 140, because I was reading it before. I got like halfway through the book on the bus, and it got stolen. Who would steal an Ayn Rand book on a bus in Miami? Give me a break. How would that happen? But it happened to me. It's crazy. Well, good thing now, guys. You can basically go again around the country now and not pay the tollways, because the toll workers are gone now because they don't want them to catch coronavirus, which is... The other funny thing I was looking at this is how this is forcing the economy to go ahead and adapt quickly as it should have, because there are so many companies out there that for the past 20 years are still using Microsoft Excel, or they're not getting on to artificial intelligence and whatnot. And this is going to happen. Funny enough, this may be the best way it could happen, is a quick and sort of painless, even though it is quite painful, but it's a very quick method of saying that, maybe we don't need so many people to be, working at the tollways. Like, when was the last time we needed to have a person there at the tollway, or, just have the beacon or whatever the thing is on the top, so you can go ahead and go through the transponder and just go through an easy tag, like something like that. There was a lot of jobs that are going to be shifted around. So let's talk about that, because, again, half of American jobs are at risk. And it sucks, because there are a lot of people that work in the restaurant industry and the entertainment industry, and they can't work. The government has told them that they are not allowed to work. So they have nothing to do. It's gonna suck. We're going to have probably one of the worst unemployment rates in modern history. Goldman Sachs was saying it's going to be 30%. JP Morgan was saying that our GDP is going to drop 14% in quarter two. You have a lot of other terrible things happening, and there's going to be the most amount of new filings for unemployment. I mean, you look through, the 2001, the 2000, web bubble, and you see the unemployment rate was, went like that. You see 2008 went like that, and then the new filings are just this. Like, it just goes up for now. It's just insane. So, I mean, this is just crazy what's going on. But jobs are shifting, and that's what happens in the economy. When things happen, the government didn't do this. Okay? I honestly think, for probably... For, I guess, the worst of us now, Jeff Bezos is going to be the emperor of the world, because his company is going to come out of this massively strong. If they're not already the most powerful company in the world, Amazon is going to become even more powerful than ever before. They're just going over there, and Jeff Bezos already has his hair shaved off. All he needs to do is have more wrinkles, have a robe, and he's going to have electricity coming out of his fingertips, charging up those Amazon Web Services servers. It's going to be unlimited power. That's going to be Jeff Bezos, because he's just getting massive amounts of work from this. They're hiring 100,000 people now, which is good for the people who have been laid off or furloughed. If you need a chance to work right now, now's the time. If you're working at Amazon, Walmart, Domino's, takeout, now's the time to go ahead and buy a Bridges cap and maybe have a BB on you and go LARP yourself as Sam Bridges from Death Stranding. Go buy yourself an adventure bike and deliver pizzas to the wastelands. This is just going to be crazy, guys. Walmart said last week it plans to hire 150,000 new workers. Okay, it also said full-time employees who are paid hourly getting a bonus of $300 each. Part-time hourly employees a bonus of $150. And most employees at Walmart, like 95% of them or 90% of them are part-time employees because they try to do that on purpose so they can not pay so much money in terms of benefits. They don't have to give you health care if you're part-time. And a lot of other stuff, they do a lot of things at a lot of companies like that, and it's not their fault because they get more from the government, and they can just go ahead and put you on food stamps or something like that, pretty insane. Amazon 100,000 new employees, as exactly. I was reading some research that the changes in behavior of people now. People are now touching their facelifts. It's like 50% of people now saying they're touching their facelifts. 67% are saying they're washing their hands more. And then it was close to 20% now are shifting their shopping from brick and mortar to online, to e-commerce. So e-commerce is growing. Okay, if you're in the supply chain industry, if you're in trucking or forklifts or anything else, the industry is going to really start to move up from here. Because people need to get things. Okay, the economy needs to move somehow, and people are going to ask for that. Now, depending on how many people get furloughed and depending on how many people get laid off, that could change a factor of we're going to get so many orders now to we're getting about the same amount of orders because a lot of people are not working, but the people who still are not going out, so they're buying from here. So it could just balance off. We don't know. Yeah, so let me look at the comments here. Again, you can't rely on the markets to do it, but every time the government gets involved in it, it just gets worse. The study out of UCLA that the government actually, from FDR and all the plans that were done from there during the Great Depression, actually prolonged the Great Depression by a number, of 5 years or something like that. So the Great Depression would have, lasted less if the government simply did nothing. Companies would go out. Yeah, it would happen. It would be quick, but the economy will come back just the same. So, that's the problem. Again, we keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we don't really learn. But here's something crazy here, guys. So again, this was haul in the week of March 15th, 2020, and by haul this means head haul, which means actually getting orders there, not back haul. So actually getting actual containers of trucks full of stuff, moving to stuff. And funny enough, Indianapolis, Indy, our good old home Indy, where this craft cider was made, came 397% change of improved markets for carriers. This is crazy what's going on. So the freight markets are seeing just a crazy market because they're increasing, and it's spiking up at crazy levels because people need to get their toilet paper, people need to get their meat. I'm more disappointed that there's no meat at Kroger right now. I had to scrounge up corned beef and cabbage for St. Patrick's Day, but I was able to get it. Use a bidet, guys. It's stop thinking that it's an un-American thing. It's the most American thing that you can save money and have something else wipe your behind. Not you. This is just crazy. And again, we do need infrastructure funding because the infrastructure is going to suffer from this, guys. You have that many trucks on the highway. I've never seen that much share because I went to go to Indy because my girlfriend's parents lives over in Indy, and she's been doing a fantastic job at helping me to keep focus on this club and everything else. So she's been doing a fantastic job, guys, and she does think of you guys sometimes a lot more than I do because my head is just all over the place. She keeps me focused. So that's it's a good thing. But when we were driving up there to go ahead and check on our folks to make sure that they're okay, that they got enough food and whatnot, I've never seen that number of share of trucks on the highway ever in my life. It's just insane that for every out of 10 vehicles, 8 of them were trucks. I counted at some point. It's just crazy. But there's going to be a need for funding new roads and rails after this, because rails are going to carry the most amount of freight from this, and then trucks are going to be able to get it to their final point destination. And especially cargo. I'm also been looking at the cargo numbers as well, and you cannot buy it that China is getting back on its feet. It's not. They're lying. Because they haven't actually, those numbers, they can't lie about it, because we can only count the number of shipments coming in from China, coming into the port of Los Angeles or whatnot. And if there's nothing coming from China, there's nothing coming from China. China can say, oh, we have sent hundreds of millions of ships over to Los Angeles with cargo. But if they don't arrive in Los Angeles, we can't count, well, this ship came from China, but we can't. So tender volume is going to be a big indicator, and probably the most realistic indicator in actually seeing where this is going, which is why we need to bring manufacturing back here to the United States. I think somebody said about that back in the 2016 presidential election. I wonder what has happened to that. It's okay, Ruben. You'll find one. Don't worry. Everybody gets down on their feet, but we get up there. Especially now in this crisis. Hey, just tell them you got beans, you got toilet paper. How many will jump on that? But like I was saying, guys, this is creating a new opportunity for it's really testing our ability, and it's becoming a rapid evolution factor in the human economy in terms of now we're bringing in artificial intelligence. Of course, China was very first into robotics, and if there's one thing they are been good at is getting cheap robotics into into things like railroad stations and whatnot. This was in a hospital. To what degree they are, Japan probably has a much more. Japan is number one when it comes to the amount of advanced robotics. There's no doubt about that. But Asian countries in general are really pushing robotics, and this may help to push it out more. Maybe in the United States, you kind of have robots and AI to get you to places. Even though Waymo went ahead and stopped their testing for supervised rides. Because, we have a lot of strict laws when it comes to artificial intelligence and when it comes to driverless cars. But this is, what happening, anti-spitting hat. So weird stuff that's coming out of this. And, if anybody has get stock in 3M, guys, because they're going to make a lot of these masks. Funny enough, this is made in the USA. I just noticed. Not made in China. So we haven't lost all our manufacturing just yet. We may have lost 95% of our antibiotics manufacturing, but we haven't lost everything just yet. Not yet, guys. The protective hat is going to be the new 2020 hat. Wasn't it crazy that back in January we all thought we were going to go ahead and die in Iran, and now we're going to die to this? And again, look at this. Tesla joining GM in patriotic offer to make ventilators. I'm just going to go ahead and, if there is online that I can find a way, I'm just going to buy a Tesla ventilator as a souvenir of surviving this, as my trophy of surviving this. I'm just going to hang it up on the wall, and my kids ask me, it's like, Daddy, where did you get that from? I was like, I survived the coronavirus, kids. That's what I got out of it. Yeah, and the economy is not good over in China. So you can see this here now. So, China's been lying about a lot of the stuff. So if you guys remember last stream that I told you that there was a video that China was running up the factories and letting them run so they can, boost up the electricity and run up the meters and say, look, everything is fine, everything is great, nothing to see here. Yeah, look at this. So Jennifer Zhang, which if you follow her on Twitter, she actually comes up with a lot of good stuff on here on the coronavirus, because she has a lot of sources over in China, and she is, she does not no gloves on her. The gloves are off when it comes to her versus the Chinese Communist Party. It is just insane. This girl is brutal. And I love the stuff that she puts on there, because it's really showing the real reality of what's going on in China. But we're starting to get into the really dark stuff here, guys. It is 8:56, so we're getting there. We're on time. So I said we're going to end at 9:05 since we were about 5 minutes later. But I will answer questions as well, because I see you guys do have some questions. But this is crazy. Look at this. So, factory manager told they must consume 3,000 kilowatt per hour electricity by midnight as the authorities use electricity usage as a criterion of reopen rate. Even this factory has not reopened for lack of supply and manpower due to COVID 2019. Manager had to switch on all the air conditioners and other equipment to ensure they achieved the quota. Look at this comment. This is hilarious. Wasting energy for nothing. The efficiency of socialism. We have this problem with education here in the U.S. We do. You know, this is just insane. Look at this. They're leaving the factory just running. The factories are not back online, guys. You know, you hear people saying, oh, it's online. We're going to be fine in 3 months or not. No, they're lying. They're lying. This is not good. What's even worse is that we're not going to get to know anything about it because I think this is going to be the next part of this coronavirus. One of the biggest factors, and no, not factors, but one of the biggest consequences out of this is when people start to notice something. You know, why does Italy now have more reported deaths than China? How can that be? A country with a minuscule fraction of the population of the nearly 2 billion people or 1.5 billion people that live in China, but somehow it has more deaths, even though it's a heck of a lot more sanitary than China. They certainly don't eat bats. I mean, my ancestry is Italian. We don't have bats in our diet. We got a lot of pasta and stuff, but no bats. And no wet markets. You know, we don't eat pangolins and extinct animals or endangered animals. Well, you can't eat extinct animals because extinct animals don't exist anymore. But you know what I'm saying. You know, eating weird animals and stuff like that in markets that fester all these diseases and whatnot. I do think this came out of a lab. There is no way that this was a natural virus. It probably came out of the bioengineering lab that's 4 blocks away from the wet market, and it somehow got into there. It happens. That one time in the 70s where somebody died of the Black Plague from I believe it was like the health and services in Britain or something like that, if I remember correctly. But this is just incredible. So we're not going to know much about this because China's pulling credentials from journalists at 3 major U.S. publications. I believe that's the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post have been banned from working in China. So they're literally going ahead and trying to scare people and manipulate the stats. Exactly. Gramble here in the comments just said it. They are manipulating the stats. Yeah. Well, no, not exactly. Someone's saying over here, FLNY Mike, the reason why Italy has more cases is the very sociable culture. Yes, that's one. And lots of old people over there. Not quite true, because here's the thing. When you actually look at the median age population of Italy, I believe it's 47, and then Germany is 45. Okay? There's no way you can say that, a 2 age difference of a median age difference right there is going to make the difference between thousands and thousands of deaths. That can't be. Now, again, there's a lot of Chinese workers in Italy too, so that's another factor. But this is beyond a measurable, beyond proportional factor, guys. Okay, beyond statistical factor, there is no way that you can be able to say, well, these numbers make sense, because they don't. They don't make sense at all that Italy has more deaths than China. And we're going to go into that. Now, on one of my sources, on a website that we cannot name, and you do not talk about this website, that's rule number 1. And rule number 2, you do not talk about this website. But someone over here from Hong Kong, an anonymous user from Hong Kong, said this. He said, due to the nature of Chinese telecoms, your national ID is bound to your mobile number account, which in turn is bound to your Alipay account. Now, if you guys are not familiar with Chinese technology, there's basically a mirror world of the internet in China. Okay? They don't have the same thing that we have, Facebook or YouTube, anything like that. They have WeChat, they have Alipay, and that's basically their own economic system. You can basically use your phone to do everything in China. Okay, your social credit score is based on a lot of stuff that you do on your phone over in China. Okay, you can pay for stuff on the same app. You can play games on the same app like WeChat. WeChat is basically everything over there. It's basically Facebook plus Twitter plus YouTube plus PayPal plus everything else combined. over there in China. But this is just incredible of what's going on over there. And if you guys don't think this source is true, well, Jennifer Zhang also said it as well. And it came from here first, and then it went over here. So this was Friday 20th, 2020, and then this came out March 20th, a couple of hours later. Yeah, look at this. This is 12 o'clock, and then 3 hours later, this came out. So again, this is where you have to go have a number of sources, guys, to go see the news. Okay, you can filter out all the crap and all the the slide threads and whatnot, but look at the stuff of what's going on. Okay, so when get this. When phone number accounts are not paid for 2 months, they are automatically canceled. Okay, now why did I talk about all the stuff that Alipay is used for? Okay, because Alipay is like, if you don't have Alipay on your phone, you don't have a mobile phone in China, you don't exist. You can't do anything in China. Okay, you can't check into any place, you can't pay for stuff, you can't check into a number of different hotels or anything like that. You can't do it. So in the last month, this is a net additional number of customers in thousands. Okay, so this is in the millions. We're talking about millions here. Okay, in February 2020, they lost 7 million customers. Okay, 7 million customers did not pay their phone bill in 2 months. And they're automatically canceled. Here we see a drastic drop in mobile accounts in all major Chinese telecoms. China Mobile alone reports a disappearance of 7,025,000. The actual number of coronavirus deaths may be up to 14,472,000 if we take 3 major China telecoms in China. So this is just crazy what's going on. And here you can see over here, Jennifer Zhang. The numbers actually get worse. Net loss of close to 15 million users. China Unicom has not released its February data yet. Unless its net gain in February is bigger than 15 million, it lost 1.1 million in January. We still wonder. So this is what I'm thinking, guys. This is insane. There could be millions of people dead. Upwards of maybe 14 million dead in China. And this is the other consequence of what's going on, of what we may hear later on. If people start to ask more questions, if people even Ted Cruz is asking it. Of course, he has to be Cuban in order to ask. Right, again, my family is Cuban, so we do know what happens when socialist governments do take over. But this is just crazy what's going on right now, because people are going to start to ask questions like, wait a second, do we know the real numbers in China? And there may be a private investigation. There may be a leak. We don't know. But when it comes out of there, yeah, China lying about numbers. You mean they would lie? You mean they would really do that? Just lie about the numbers? Yeah, they would. But this is crazy, 14 million people may be dead, and we don't even know. This is going to be almost as bad. This could be, if this continues on for months, we don't know. This could be just as bad as the Cultural Revolution in China, of the Great Leap Forward with Mao, when over 100 million people died. This is genocide level stuff. It's insane. So I'm gonna leave you guys at that. Let me see what my archive over here. I have another article. I think I did. Oh, this is the same thing over here. The China coronavirus deaths from the website. We do not talk about this website. That's rule number 1. So let's ask some questions, guys. What are we going on about here? Yeah, and that's another thing. Some people have gone out that they were able to go ahead and see that there's actually sulfides coming out of the air from China. If you actually look at their air pollution rate, the amount of the crematoriums. They're running crematoriums 24/7. So this is insane. What's going on? So someone asked, Highcast asked, so you believe that millions are dead from a bioweapon because of an anon from 4chan? It's not just an anon, guys. It's, that's how does news actually start? Back in the muckracker days, back of those days, you used to get somebody, in a factory or something like that, an anonymous person, ask them a question, and then you would go ahead and research to make sure and validate their claim. That is what someone has done. And the internet has been a great thing in that. And of course, you can say, this is a terrible website. How can people visit that website? I don't agree with everything that people say on that. Some people are just nuts, okay? National socialism is complete disaster. You can't have anything like that. And I'm very much more of a libertarian type of person, and I'm definitely not a racist person at all. Okay, I love everybody. I don't care. I have friends who are, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, or gay. I don't care. All right, I've made that clear multiple times. All right, I just want the truth. That's what I want. Okay, and I want what's best for everybody. That's why I made this club. That's why I made the American Rail Club, because I believe this country can do a heck of a lot better in so many other industries if we were to push more rail transportation, especially high-speed rail transportation. So that's what we need. But yeah, well, I do think that it's a very big possibility that something got out and has killed millions of people. It's less of an assumption. There's less to assume in that. And if you take Occam's razor into account, it just makes more sense more and more. You can't say that this just assumingly it had to have come out of nowhere and just pop out and then people start to die. There is no way that can happen. But this is crazy. And the airline industry is probably going to get more money out of this. I don't know. Let's go ahead and make sure we don't get calls over here and everything. Like the last time. But yeah, let's ask some questions, guys. No, I won't eat the bat soup. You can call me a bigot all you want. I'm not eating the bat soup. Questions? All right. Do you think that the virus will cause Brightline to fail? I don't think so. No. Brightline just started. Again, I don't think they probably that were accounting for this anywhere. Or nobody was accounting for this in their records. When everybody makes financial accounts of 5 years from now. I mean, heck, even our company, we're scrambling to make new forecasts and check on this thing, and I don't think any forecast can really tell you what's going on, because nothing like this ever in history has happened. I mean, we've had viruses, but not to this extent, and not when Spanish flu happened, it wasn't coming from a country that we knew about. The reason why it was called Spanish flu is because Spain was the only country that was not in World War I, so they were reporting on it for the longest of time, and everybody associated Spain with that. And funny enough, it also came from China, the Spanish flu. Yeah, container ships. The supply chain is keeping this country afloat, and it's thank God, thank people, and thank the United States that we actually have a robust supply chain system, robust enough to keep this thing going. Questions I want to ask. Grambo, what are your thoughts on anarcho transhumanism? Not just man-machine, but biohacking as well. I guess we're going to wait for Cyberpunk 2077 for that answer. I mean, it's going to happen at some point. I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, of course, people are going to, do awful, insane things to people and, create monster machine cyborgs out of them. But that's just what's going to happen. If people don't do it, the government is certainly going to do it. So you let it happen at some point. You don't just, you don't let it happen because, just let it happen. But you know what I'm saying. Is it possible for Amtrak Pioneer to return service in the northwestern United States in the future? Possibly, if we get this out. News on Texas Central Railway. Yeah, right now, TCR, I don't think they're really... I haven't seen some news on that. I have seen news on California high-speed rail that they are stopping construction right now because people are being told to stay home. But I haven't seen anything on TCR. Fridge, I have not ignored you here. I have seen your comment multiple times. Will I do a video about FDOT and MCORs? Yes, I probably will. I actually have a good friend on Facebook. He did a huge research paper for college on MCORs in Florida and how they can be able to use the transportation money that they get from FDOT in a much better way to be able to improve transportation in Florida and get people mostly on rails. So that would be something great if they can be able to do that. Adam Bucer, is it possible to operate Amtrak Empire Builder on the Montana Rail Link Railroad? Possibly, but I mean, it's not really in the same area either. Montana's a very sparsely populated area, and I've always wanted to live in Montana at some point. I just want people to leave me alone, have a big, nice log cabin, and hunt for my own food. Probably be cheaper too. Just living on elk and moose and stuff like that. One slug is enough to go ahead and have food for an entire month. Probably do what Joe Rogan is doing, just go on a full carnivore diet. Okay, so G1234538 here has something about TCR. Had the EIS due to be complete by the end of July. To be honest, that's after it was extended, so that time from March back in January, so it can still happen. That was the last news I had on Texas. They still have not had the environmental impact statement, the environmental impact study done just yet, and a lot of that has been pushed back because of the trials going on right now in Texas. Of a lot of the opposition going ahead and saying that it cannot use eminent domain, it cannot apply for federal loans or anything like that, etc. So yeah. It could be expensive to live in Montana if you're living in a big place, but apparently the standard of living cost there is a lot cheaper than a lot of other states. Adam is asking, I forgot to ask you, how is the Gateway program doing as we speak? Pretty terrible. Pretty terrible right now. The last news I heard about it, it's just basically getting pummeled in Congress. The Republicans want to take away a lot of money from the Gateway program, which that will be awful because New York and that corridor there in New Jersey definitely needs the Gateway program, or else they're not going to be able to catch up to the amount of population growth, and just the population that they have, period. I mean, it's not even enough for the population that they had back in the 80s, let alone what's going to happen 20 years from now. If coronavirus doesn't completely decimate that area, which, I hope not. I have a lot of families still living there in New York and New Jersey. It's scary. It is scary, guys. Yeah, I know, guys. I had a lot of things still put up for here. I mean, I can't go to the rail trails now because they're I could probably do a video on rail trails, but it's not going to be as good because I want to actually go ahead and go to the rail trails and walk them and talk about the ridiculous of them. David Mitchell asks, do you think the freight railroads keep the U.S. afloat? Absolutely. Freight railroad cargo volume has been keeping... it's been erratic, but that's the only way we're able to get and move as much product as we need here because grocery stores have been swamped. They don't keep that much product on store, and I know because I worked at Publix. We only used to keep maybe enough for 72 hours or a week, depending on the type of product, because some products move slower, first in, first out. The thing, FIFO. If you put the products you get in first, get those out. Get the products you get in next, you put those, in the back. But, you don't keep that many products for some things. And for things like toilet paper, that's very slow-moving product. So, a lot of companies were not expecting that people would come for toilet paper of all things. Water, yes. And water is not something they keep in stock unless it's hurricane season. Then places like in the South, like Publix or Winn-Dixie, if, I feel sorry for the people who go to Winn-Dixie. But, yeah. But it's crazy because, especially up here and even in Indiana, rural Indiana, I wouldn't expect it to be like that. The toilet paper, water, gone. They had plenty of LaCroix, though, and a lot of Monster Energy drinks, but people just went specifically for the regular water. Now, it wasn't as bad as that one time when Irma came over to Florida, and people were even taking mineral water. They were taking whatever was any type of fluid, they would take it. It was just crazy. Yeah, I don't call it a narco anything. If people call me an anarchist, no, I'm for having self-governance. I'm not an anarchist. I'm for self-governance. Yeah, maybe we will get our 3D virtual waifus from this. For the guys who don't have the 3D waifus, apparently some people still agree that 2D waifus are better than 3D waifus. David Mitchell, working at Walmart. A lot of people came in to get toilet paper. I know that feel, man. That's just crazy. Rail bros. Is that what we're calling ourselves now? Bros? Rail bros? I mean, I'm not going to copy PewDiePie's Brofist or anything like that, but bros, I mean, that could be something. After doing some research on anarchism, I decided anarcho is bullshit. And 2D husbandos as well. Yeah, I mean, hey, for those of you who, may swing the other way or who are females, yeah. I don't know. So someone was asking, what was the story with this tweet you have? People projecting how many people in China reporting. Yeah, so if you go back about 20 minutes from now, we were talking about, how many people actually could have died in China because... Again, in China, your life is basically your phone, and 14 million people basically dropped off their phone plans. It's not that they didn't have the money to pay their phone. I mean, paying your phone is like $40 a month here in the United States if you're like something on AT&T or whatnot. Even homeless people in the United States have phones. So imagine in an Asian country like China where technology is basically everything. You need your phone. So that's, when people say, when I tell this to people, it's like, oh no, is people just not paying their phone bill? I'm like, guys, you do know that even the homeless over here have phones and they will get anything to make sure that they still have a phone, to access the internet or do whatever. I mean, I see that all the time. And it's true. Yeah, it could be $30 a month. I know I'm overpaying for AT&T. But, I just want to keep my number. And I really don't want to go ahead and go through the hassle of trying to change my number. I like my 305 forever. Some of you are on a family plan. Yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, hey, you can shut down your own internet service. You don't have to pay for TV or whatnot. As long as you have a phone and, go find some place like a library or, anywhere on a building that has an outlet. You go ahead and charge your phone. You walk along. I mean, hey. All right. Any more questions? It's 9:18. I can probably answer a couple more questions or so, but till then, guys, I think we're doing all right so far, hanging in there. But like I said, this is gonna get worse before it gets better. I hope you guys have paid attention and listened to what I said about making sure that you get masks, making sure that you have food. Making sure, I don't know about electricity yet, but that may be coming next. So in case you do have camping gear or whatnot, just get that prepped just in case, okay? And by prepping, it means prepping before it happens, okay? That's why I didn't rush to the grocery store or anything when it happened. I mean, I just went there to go ahead and buy some meat and make sure, I had stuff for St. Patrick's Day and everything was gone. Someone is calling the airlines out in government and telling government not to give money to the airlines, and the government needs to listen to that person. I don't know who, but if that person doesn't have enough money to lobby to the government to make sure that the government doesn't give the airlines money, it ain't happening. Yeah, Amtrak hasn't completely shut down, guys. Just don't forget that it's the Acela that is just shut down now. A couple of services have shut down, like, for example, Chicago to Grand Rapids, Michigan, some others. But not everything has shut down. All Pennsylvania trains have shut down as well. Control F masks. I got nothing. Oh no, help. $200 bidding once, going twice. Whoever wants it, I don't know. I'm probably just gonna keep it. Just in case of anything. Grambo asks, will space travel become a thing? Probably within this century. I mean, I don't know when in this century, but definitely we're heading there in this century. We will finally get to, at least in this solar system. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be Cowboy Bebop level, but I mean, we're at least getting there into the solar system. Little Marco. Yeah, no, I want to stay on Earth, guys. I mean, well, sometimes when I think of what's going on around the planet, and when I think about, this and everything else, maybe I'll just, I'm thinking like, you know what? I want to go to Mars. Mr. Musk, please get me on the first plane to Mars. Wait, do they have drones in Belgium now? I know they have drones patrolling in China, which is crazy. If you guys saw that video, there was a drone out there, like they were telling you, Grandma, go stay inside. You don't need to be outside. Why do you not have your mask? And the drone is like talking out of a loudspeaker. It's, pure 1984. It's just crazy. And then, they're telling you, hey there, old man, go ahead and put your tractor away. You don't have to get it out in the snow. The snow will melt itself. What anime do I like? A lot of older anime. I'm not a big fan of like some of the newer anime, some of the older shonens. I mean, like some of the more recent ones, like maybe like Attack on Titan, that type of stuff. One I do really like that I've been following is Vinland Saga. That one I like because the Berserk anime was completely trash. I've read the whole entire manga myself already, but I like the Vinland Saga manga, and when I saw the anime, I'm like, oh shoot, I want to see that because it's the same Wit Studio, the same people who made Attack on Titan. I haven't actually caught up with the last seasons. Yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion and their trains. I laughed when I saw that the one train with on like the first episode with the turrets on it. That was hilarious. Oh God, One Piece. It's never gonna end. Everybody will be dead from the coronavirus, and they'll still be making One Piece episodes. Deus Vult, indeed. Non nobis domine. Have you read the book The Hot Zone? Amazing account of Ebola Zaire disease. No, I have not. Yes, of course, I've seen Initial D, guys. I have the car on my desk at work. I actually do have this one though, the Hot Wheels, the one that looks like the FD that Ryosuke Takahashi had in the anime. It's the closest looking one. And then I have the Kyosho A86. Of course, this is my car, is the Altezza, the IS300. Of course, I have to have the 2JZ. Yeah, I can't really drift my car. I mean, it will go velocity. You can velocity drift it, but it's got open differential, so drifting that thing is it's complete hell on earth. Probably it's $200 to probably get a limited slip differential and then some work to go ahead under the car and bolt the pumpkin out and all that. But that's just this is a crazy amount of work. I was gonna do that on my car during the spring, but forget it right now. All right, guys. Supra versus the 993 Turbo. That's a good one. I mean, Supra. If it's the older Supra, I'll probably take that so I can sell it. They're way overpriced right now. And then buy myself like an older Porsche Targa, or maybe an MR2. I'm more of a fan of the MR2, to be honest. Yes, I have seen Italian mayors getting pissed off at residents going out during quarantine. Yeah, there was one Italian mayor that was threatening to have police with flamethrowers to get people back inside. Government, man. Government. Unlimited power does that to them, man. Yeah, I love transportation, guys. That's the thing about me. Ever since when I was a little kid, I just wanted to go fast. Not Sonic, but I just always wanted to go fast. When I was 4 years old, I wanted to be an Air Force fighter pilot. Then I wanted to be a race car driver, and I've loved cars. I love trains. Anything that went over 200 miles an hour, the possibility of going over 200 miles an hour, just got my panties in a tizzy. Yeah, I did see the Hello Kitty train in Japan. That was hilarious. No, I'm not Sonic, please. I have not seen the new Sonic movie yet. They'll probably, I can just probably see it now. They're probably going to put all their movies now streaming it online. Please don't scrap the Supra, Ruben. Don't do that. It's the most boomerish thing you can do. Have you guys seen that article about that one old boomer guy? He took his Dodge Charger and he crushed it because he was tired of people giving him lowball offers. It's like the type of FUD that says, like, I know what I got and I'm going to crush it. It's terrible, man. Leaving nothing for the next generation. Yes, Japan does the most kawaii trains. 9:26, guys. I'm going to cut this off at 9:30. Hard stop. 9:30 comes along. I'm going to stop what I'm saying. Sonic Chew versus Sonic. None of them. Please, God, no. I was never a Sonic fan. Actually, I was never a Nintendo or Sega guy. I've always been a PlayStation guy. You guys need to talk to Darius, my brother, on Sonic, because he loves that. I'm not a Nintendrone. You can call me a Sony pony all you want. David, by any chance you know the senator? I know who you're talking about. The only senator I can think of right now is Rand Paul, who actually did you guys know that Rand Paul has been diagnosed positive for coronavirus? The first U.S. senator to get coronavirus. Rand lit the manlet. Who will ever be able to defend our Constitution now? I mean, I like Rand and a lot of things that he says. He's not as good as his father, but you know what? He's kind of, he's a good guy for what we have in the Senate. Of the senators, he's probably one of the better ones, to be honest. Of my favorites. Yeah, my parents still love the IUS endings. Yeah, Darius is my younger brother, and Demetrius is me. Do you think Amtrak will be privatized on the other side of this? Could be a possibility. It's gonna be longer than that. A lot of stuff is on hold now, guys. Okay, the economy is we're heading toward recession now. Like I said, we were heading toward contraction months ago, and people were thinking like that. I wasn't thinking that this was gonna happen. I didn't know that until like maybe January, but not to this point. Gran Turismo Sport is the best current generation racing game. Yeah, I actually have. I got my girlfriend the PlayStation VR set for a PS4, and we've been playing Gran Turismo on there with the VR set. It's actually pretty cool. I just need I still have the old GT Sport steering wheel from the PS3 era, so you have to get an adapter to get that to work on the PS4. But why not? I may stream some games or whatnot. The economy is heading to a recession. Milton Keynes entered the chat. Please no. No Keynesian economics, please. It has failed us enough for the last 100 years. Please, no. Other than the Texas bullet train, do you foresee any other future high-speed rail lines being built in the U.S.? Absolutely. It's going to be Las Vegas to L.A. From Virgin Trains. Well, technically Victorville, but that will most likely happen as well. Being that Brightline, Virgin Brightline is becoming successful, and that's going to happen. Yeah, PC is going to be. Yeah, PC is no doubt PC is the better specs. I mean, I'm using a PC now, but I haven't played games on my PC for a while, and I have Asus ROG. I have two ROGs. Well, my girlfriend has one, and I have an older one. GL's 702 VM with a 1060, and hers has a 1070 in it. I'll probably build a PC, like an actual terminal. I'm getting a little sick of laptops. Probability that Corona is the thing that finally kills the long-distance routes? That's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to kill long-distance routes, though. All right, guys, 9:29. Last question, last comment. We're still pretty good. 40 people still watching. You guys are liking this. I'll do more of these later in the week. Do you play City Skylines? I haven't played any of those sims since I was a kid, man. I haven't played like Microsoft Flight Simulator, Sim Tycoon, Railroad Tycoon, Sin City. I haven't played those since the good old XP days, man. I'm getting old. Holy crap. Virgin should go to LA, not Victorville. They probably will. They probably will at some point because they know that the big money's over there in LA. If they can be able to get LA, yeah. But Victorville is just basically a start to get that up. Should people during the Parade of Nations at the 2021 Olympics? That was a good one, Eric. That was a good one. 2021 Olympics. Should they present Texas Central when the Team USA comes out? They're not going to do it. They're not going to do that. They probably don't. Most of those athletes and probably the Olympic Committee in the United States don't even know about Texas Central Railroad. They won't do it. It's more about the athletes, guys. Yeah. Well, funny enough, I guess the Tokyo Olympics aren't happening this year, not because of Akira, but because of the virus. So you don't have a psychic entity blowing up Neo Tokyo, which my girlfriend for some reason doesn't want to watch Akira, which we should. Yeah, I should try. I'm gonna try a couple train sims. I should probably download one. Train simulator. One advantage of recession is very cheap rail building. Yeah, again, there's a lot of things that happens. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of a lot of anime movies. To be honest, it's just it's easier to digest when you don't have enough time to go ahead and stream and binge hundreds of episodes like you were back in the college days. Like I was able to go ahead and go through Legend of the Galactic Heroes, which I still think is probably the best work of fiction of all time, is Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Why did Tetsuo do it? I don't know, man. I don't know why Tetsuo did it. Alright, guys. 9:32. Alright. We're going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for being on board for this American Rail Cub stream. Things are going to get worse before they get better, but believe me, guys, when they get better, they will get a lot better. We will get fine. We will make it. We will survive. We will thrive. And we're going to make it through this. Most of us are still young. And this may be in the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. Just know that. In the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. And we'll make it. So don't worry. All right? Stay safe. Stay healthy. I hope you guys have prepped before. I hope you guys have listened. There's still maybe just a smidgen of time. If you do see some stuff, make sure you get it. Don't try to fight people. Maybe look at a couple of prepper videos online. Know what a gray man is. That's another thing. If you don't know, how to put yourself in a gray man situation, do know how to do that. And, I will see you guys soon. All right? Stay indoors. Stay safe. Stay healthy. See you soon.